All right. Welcome back from Jenny from the Chopping Block. And this is the first podcast of the series. It's been a little while since I've done these. And once I met Lisa, I knew that I had a really important conversation to share with everyone. We decided to start this podcast with how we met because, there's a lot of people in the world and you meet people along the way. But we happen to have a immediate connection, and I want to introduce Lisa, and also I want her to share with you how we met and how we came about doing this podcast.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Mitchell from Nyah Simone Spa. Jen is an amazing colleague of mine. We work together. So we met, I just started recently in a new department in higher education. And we were at work one day and we were just talking and we just instantly connected. And usually when I work in a corporate setting or business setting, I am super professional. I don't share my social media with anyone. I don't tell them what I do for my entrepreneur. I don't tell many people that I'm an entrepreneur, but there's a moment that in our conversation that I just knew that Jen was authentic. She has a good heart. And I just felt the connection. And I said something, I said, we were talking, I said, dead ass. I was like, at that moment, I knew that I have broken the barrier, broken the wall. We're following each other on social media and we're connected. And I think that that's just how my story is going to be today. Just organic, genuine relationships that, with amazing people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And I feel like podcasts are fun to share with everybody because I know you have like a beautiful story and there's going to be something that comes. I know like you were brought into my real world, work is one thing, but when somebody's brought into my real world, I know it's because there's something that's guided and it's bigger than us.
Definitely.
And I know we're here to promote your business, but I want to start talking about like what brought you here, what brought you into this version of yourself. Because a lot of us struggle with who we are and who we actually really want to be. And I think you could really help not only me, but the audience and everybody watching and listening in on doing what's put in your heart for a reason. And if we could just start, I know, it's a really big accomplishment that you've worked for Fortune 500 companies. And I knew when you were hired, like just reading the resume and just knowing who Lisa is as a person, like professionally, I was like, wow, like this is somebody that I like not only want to be friends with, but I want to learn from because your experience is unbelievable. So I do want to ask you, and I wanted to prep this talk because I'm like, maybe if you thought about it, but sometimes just the first thing that comes to your head when you think about the different careers that you've had in corporate, setting, like what did you learn maybe from each, if you just want to like say something about each experience, because every experience we have kind of molds us to who we are and what we do. So if you could just maybe say a couple of things about each experience you've had so far.
Okay. So I started out working in the corporate world for Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. And I started out as a temp while I was in school. So every time I started out at a HBCU, Oakwood College, which is now Oakwood University in Alabama. And every time I got a break, came back to New York, I temped at different companies. And in those settings, I learned how, I observed, how to be a professional, how to work in a corporate setting. My first full-time job, it was in an operational setting at Morgan Stanley in the World Trade Center, the World Trade Center. I didn't know, I didn't know it was like, I knew it was World Trade, but I didn't know it was like these big famous buildings. I just knew it as Building 1 and 2, and I happened to work in Building 5. And I thought that, it was a great opportunity. I was young. I knew that I wanted to be successful. I studied business management and finance in my studies, and I that was my first job. And in that job was that traumatic experience of 9/11, like a year or two in the job. And that really put a lot of things in perspective for me.
I want to tread lightly with this part of the podcast because I haven't really spoke to you about that point of your life. And I want to be mindful of how you want to share, if you want to even share, like what you experienced. And how, like you said, it shaped your life and it made you realize a lot of things. What are some of the things that you really, like how did it change your perspective on things and maybe what happened?
Well, I was going to work. Leading up to that day, there was a lot of things that I realized that it wasn't my time. I was in school late at night. My daughter was 2 years old, single mother, and I was working full time, going to school full time, and a mother. My mother, she moved out of the country with my younger sister. She got remarried, and I was just by myself. I've been living on my own since I was 22 years old. And when that incident happened, I asked my manager the day before to change my work schedule from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And I got out of the train station at 8:45. The first plane had already hit. The second, I thought it was a bomb at the time, and it was just it was terrible. People running all over, people with professional cameras taking pictures, seeing people with my own eyes jumping out of a building. It was just super traumatic. I had to go to therapy after that. And then a couple of months or maybe a year later, there was like a massive layoff with the company, and I was affected by that.
Sorry to hear that. What did you learn from that? Like, how did you feel when you were laid off after experiencing all that?
I felt like I didn't initially know what I was going to do, because that was the first time that ever happened to me. I thought that was, my career was over. You feel like, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to survive? But I quickly had to figure it out, right? Because I have a 2-year-old that's looking at me to figure it out. And I just there was just an inner fight in me, knowing that I couldn't do it on, I couldn't just not work. I can't live off of unemployment for but so long. And I had to come up with a plan. And what helped me also is the studying that I was learning about, economics and supply and demand. I've always, from a young age, had an entrepreneurial mindset, and that helped me to, to have a drive in me. I started to think about, one of my professors said, what is something that you can't live without? What is something that you would do whether someone pays you or not? And my answer to that was soap. So it led me to exploring soap, making soap. I traveled to California.
Just gave me chills.
I've taken classes in New York, and I learned how to make natural products. So that's how, I, in the process of looking for other, like, a regular traditional 9-to-5 job, I started to make soap and make natural products.
And that was your next step after navigating that hard time in your life?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I became a soap maker.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I remember, like, I was shocked because I didn't know this about Lisa, and I went to like a Tony Robbins event, and I was writing all my dreams and goals. And one of the things I actually wrote down was like, I would love to create like products like that, like soap and like lotions and stuff. And I had this whole like vision and thought process of that. So what do you think led you to that exact vision? Like, how did you know that was your next step?
I think it was God led, honestly. I feel that, knowing that everyone uses soap, when you think about what is something that everyone needs. I don't know. It just came into my mind. Soap. We need soap. Some people, of course, don't use soap. That's another story. But I was just sitting at work. My next job after that, it was working at... I worked at American Express, and I think I vividly remember Citigroup after that is when, it wasn't immediate after 9/11. It was like a couple of years. And it was when I sat down, I got a brand new notebook and I started writing, what I want the name of the business to be, creating the corporation, because I was more experienced in my education and I knew how to form a corporation and all that stuff. So I started to just write down ideas. I used to dream about making ingredients, making products. Like I wake up like, I can make, lemongrass and peppermint soap, but like ideas would just come to my head. And I opened up my notebook. I probably still have that notebook to this day. So a notebook just with ideas.
I have so many questions and thoughts, but I want to stick to what's present right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that when you write something down, it actually helps it come true or manifest? Because there's studies that say, like, when you write it down, like what you write invites, right? You have like an idea, a vision, and you write it down, and then one day you're living it and you're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, of course you make, because I know we both take steps to make things happen.
Yes.
Because that's a big part of it. You don't just write it down and then put the paper away and then it comes true.
I definitely feel that writing things down, I think it's biblical. There's a text in the Bible, I'm a Christian, and it says, write the vision and make it plain. Like writing things down, there's power in that. It makes you accountable when you write things down. And as I write it down, I cross it out, and it helps you to stay on track or on target.
I've noticed also, like, when I journal, you could say words and like maybe lie to yourself or say something that might not be true. But I know when you write something down, like it's your subconscious. It's not, sometimes you ever sit down and you're writing and you're like, where's this even coming from? Like how, like it's coming from like somewhere. Yeah. I don't know where to explain it, but it's coming from something that's not up here. It's somewhere like maybe in here, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's so good to write things down and journal your feelings and everything like that.
I had another question that I wanted to come back to about like the entrepreneurial, like, so my question is, do you think we're born that way? Like, is it something that, like, is it, because I always wondered, I'm like, why are we so like into like passion projects and like I don't think everyone is an entrepreneur, right? Like, I
don't think everyone has that in them, because a lot of people say to me, there's times when I had 3 jobs, and my family's Jamaican, so that's a running joke that Jamaicans have like a million jobs. But when you have, not everyone is an entrepreneur. Like some people just like a job that they could just clock in and clock out. Like today is Sunday. I spent a lot of my time in, working, and I literally just came from work to have this conversation with you. And I think this is a very important conversation. I was looking forward to this conversation all day today.
Me too.
And I think that this is a part of, being an entrepreneur is not easy. I think a lot of people think it's easy. It's not. This year, I've taken my business a lot more serious than I've ever had. I started my business in 2006, and I think that the mindset that I'm having now is more business minded than I did years ago. Years ago, it's probably it probably had like a hobby type feel to it, even though I had a physical location, seeing clients, like, so you grow and you elevate. What
sparked that difference, like to where you like felt it maybe had been a hobby or something that you enjoyed or made money from, but you weren't feeling the way you feel now about it?
I think that going back to what you said about goals and writing things down, if you don't have a plan written down, or if you don't have, it's like it doesn't have the same power. So now I have like goals for my business. I didn't have goals before. It was just doing massages or doing facials, and that was it. Now I have financial goals that I'm trying to hit every single month. And having those goals, it gives me the drive, like we're ending Q2 tomorrow, and I'm like, I need help getting to my goal.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
We'll talk right into the camera because this is actually pretty cool. We talked about this a little Friday, and it's more fun when you could maybe talk to a larger audience about something. Because I know, Lisa, we work together and, we're doing our things. But I also know, like, when we're off the clock and what that looks like, too. And I admire... part of this whole series is like grace and grit, because I know that when the clock stops with where we're at, which is enough in itself, the clock is not stopping when we're out of there.
No.
And it's amazing, but there is a big goal that Lisa has that if whoever's watching, we could help her meet. Because it means so much to her, and the fact that she's even sharing today, maybe we could give back in a way to make her meet these goals. If you want to share what that goal is.
So this week, tomorrow, I have the big goal that I'm trying to accomplish is I have a financial goal in my business, and some people, they may say like that's nothing, right? I'm trying to hit a goal of making $10K in my business for the month. I've gotten close many times, but I haven't. I've met business owners that make a lot more in a month. But for me, as a solo entrepreneur, it would mean a lot. And what that would mean is I'm asking everyone to buy gift cards, gift certificates at my business for a massage, a facial. And if you buy your gift certificate today or tomorrow, you're going to get a luxury foot bath and a whole body vibration therapy, which is 10 minutes. You stand on the vibration plate and you can lose anywhere from 400 to 600 calories.
Can we talk about the lymphatic drainage? Because that's something I'm interested in.
Sure.
So can you talk about like some of your services? All right, we got to back up because I'm sure people are like, okay, she has a business, she's meeting this goal, but what is the business? Because we haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
So I know you were making soap, and then how did that segue into your physical location and serving the community in the way that you have been?
So when I started making soap, I started selling my soap at churches, at street fairs, schools, and people started asking me questions about their skin. Do you make products for anti-aging? Do you make products for wrinkles? And at that time, I really didn't understand my skin, much less to tell someone else about their skin. So I knew that I wanted to learn more about skin. So I looked at the top aesthetic schools in New York. And at the time I was living in Brooklyn and I was working in Manhattan. So the top schools I went to, I chose a particular school that their values were similar to mine. They were Ayurvedic in their studies, and I learned about their products. In my opinion, it was a quality education. So I learned aesthetics, and then our teacher, she also was a massage therapist. So she showed us massage techniques, but she said, you can't say that you're a massage therapist. So she said, if you want to be spa royalty, massage and aesthetics. So I want to be spa royalty. So I eventually found a school that worked with my schedule, and I was able to study both massage, first aesthetics, then massage. I love education. That's probably why I ended up in higher education.
Yeah.
I love to learn new things. But yeah, that's how I got into that. And then I did the manual lymphatic drainage afterwards.
Okay. And what does this business mean to you? I want to hear about like what the name means.
Oh, okay.
Do you enjoy the actual like serving the person you're working with? Like I want to hear about that part.
Okay, so my business name is Nyah Simone Spa. So Nyah is my daughter. Her name means purpose. And Simone is my younger sister. I have two sisters. I'm the middle child, and her name Simone means beautiful. So my tagline is natural beauty on purpose. I want to empower people to feel like they don't have to wear a ton of makeup or to feel that they have to cover up their natural beauty. Like, I have freckles all over my face. There was a time where I wanted to like cover them.
Why?
Because I was like, because I wasn't born with freckles, and all of a sudden I thought that was something that makes you look old.
Oh, okay.
I thought.
I want to do like the henna freckle. I love them. They're so pretty.
So now I feel more confident with my freckles, because I'm hearing that people want freckles, and, so and that's another thing. It's like protecting your skin against the environment, the sun, so learning proper skincare. I meet so many amazing people in all different walks of life. That's what I love. And I love to talk to people. I think that's why we connected, because we are real, many a times in the business setting, I don't want to say it's a facade, but you have to be polished. You have to be a certain way to be received, right? And especially as a minority in a corporate space, I've had instances where, it doesn't feel comfortable in the space. It's just to be who you are. And in my business, as an entrepreneur, I make my own hours. I have more control. I can take vacation when I want. I have limitless income. And that's I'm a businesswoman. So to me, that excites me out of anything. We shared a story privately about a colleague that was bragging that she makes $1,000 more than me. And I said, wow, I said, okay. And
we both laughed.
We laughed.
We're like, so what?
Because confidently, I could,
make that in a day.
My quickest time, I made $1,000 in 2 hours. And to me, that is just a testament of being an entrepreneur. When you are good at what you do, people value your service. And it also taught me about self-value, right? I'm not for everybody. I realized that as a business owner, as a talent, as a massage therapist or esthetician, my services are not for everyone. Everyone may not be my client, my ideal client. And I have to be okay with that. But my tribe, I vibe my tribe. And my tribe, my people, they're going to find me and they're going to appreciate my services.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to the spa, but I want to talk a little bit more about education.
Yeah.
And what brought you into, because you worked for Columbia University.
Yes.
For the public health school of
Mailman School of Public Health.
Can you tell me about that experience and how you got there and what that meant to you?
So it was a really nice experience. It was a good transition from the banking, the insurance, the brokerage environment that I was used to. Being that it's also a private institution, it was very similar in culture. It was a nice experience. I met some really lovely people, and it was a time. I was there for like 6 years, and under new leadership often. But
what'd you learn there? Like, what was because I work with you, so Columbia is the largest
It's a nonprofit organization, but it's the largest public nonprofit. No, sorry. Columbia University is the largest private nonprofit in New York.
Yes.
Yeah. And Stony Brook, where we are now, is the largest public nonprofit in New York.
Yes.
So it's different. It's nice to say, oh, I've worked at Columbia, an Ivy League school. It's a nice feeling. It looks good on the resume. And they do a lot of important work. The last event that I helped out with it was a team event, but I participated, that we honored Anthony Fauci. He did, with what he did during the pandemic. It's political, but I think that we often were in rooms with people of great means. And that was nice, that was nice.
Do you feel like you put anything from there in your tool belt, like for most importantly, your business, but maybe like along the way? I'm curious about like how, like what, sometimes you take certain things from certain places. Is there anything you could think of that like, oh, I learned this and I took it with me and it helped me along the way or helped me start my business, or it just was like a breadcrumb to the bigger picture of like everything?
I think the latter. It is, it taught me more about public health that I wasn't aware about. They do a lot with climate change and, things that are relevant. They're very involved with the COVID, initiative. I learned a lot about events.
That's cool.
And I did events before, like I did like wedding coordinating. I'm one of those people, they call me a Renaissance woman. I do a lot of different things, but I think that I understand like what you do, because you do events.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a fun job, I think.
How do you feel about the whole scene of it, like how all the operational stuff, or just like how it all comes together? What's your take on it? Like, how do you feel about event planning or events in general?
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Don't realize.
Oh, doing events is a lot of work and a lot of detail.
Yeah.
They say the devil is in the details. It's a lot of detail, a lot of prep, and the planning. We've done large events like 500 attendee events. I worked along with very good people that were passionate about what they do. And I think that is just what I appreciate from every job that I'm with. Not everyone in the job, of course, but I love working along with people that just love their jobs. And you could tell, when you love what you do, it like oozes through your pores. And that's the kind of people I like to look up to and emulate, with what I do.
Do you think that's rare for somebody to like love what they do? And how do you align with that?
I think that sometimes in my journey of looking for jobs, I find that the jobs that you apply for are usually not the job that you get after you're in the job for a while. Yeah. As soon as you step your foot in the door, they change. It's like they flip the script, right? So I'm going through that now. We could definitely relate.
Yeah.
But some scenarios are more egregious than others. Like, it's just a complete 360. But I think that there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
Some environments it's a easier way to learn. Like you could say, I need help in this area. We're all learning. No one's on autopilot at the jobs that we've had. And I think that, just be open to learn. And that's what that's how I navigate my life. I'm always wanting to learn how to do things better. And,
I think we relate on that.
Yeah.
That's something that I value too. And it's fun to learn. Sometimes it's challenging because you're like, how do I learn this? Or there's no direct like path. How do you navigate that?
And there's gatekeeping.
Yeah. What is that about?
I don't know.
We could talk about it.
Okay.
Why do people gatekeep information? It's very strange. I've never experienced that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from a culinary background and I learn by, all right, demo something for me. I mean, all parts of it, but like just very simply put, I need, just show me once. Show me once. But why is there gatekeeping in other professional environments? I
think that people gatekeep to protect, they look at it as job security. So, it's just, job security. And, yeah. But
why would they bring in more help if they're going to gatekeep? And I don't get it.
It's just their limited thinking. I think, everyone wants to be the, to top look, dog. They want to be the top. They want to look the best.
Yeah.
But as a manager or a leader, I think that you have to learn how to duplicate yourself, or else you're going to be working very, very hard. Yeah. Even as an entrepreneur, it's like I'm a solo person, but eventually I'm going to have to bring on a team of people that could do the work. It's not, it's not. I think in our going back to like our education environment that we work in, it's kind of tricky, because a lot of times when a lot of people stay in their jobs for like 20, 30, 40 years. And when they retire, that wealth of information is going with them, so then the next person coming in, they're going to struggle, so.
Is that part of the fun of it in a way as an entrepreneur? Sometimes I'm like, it's tough. Like you're like, oh my God.
I don't deal with that as an entrepreneur.
You don't feel like you have to figure a lot of stuff out for the first time. And it's like, it's a little bit of a fight. You got to like, like I have a joke when I do like catering or like different things, like my person on some of the other ends of things are like me. It's just me. Like I'm writing the emails or I'm figuring it out. Like especially being like, maybe there's one or two people in the business. It's like a little bit challenging to like run the whole show, right? On your own. It is. You have to promote the business. You have to follow up with clients, right? You have to tell me more about like, you don't find that part like a little bit.
It's a lot. And I've also learned to outsource. So like tomorrow I'm doing a model call in my business. So people are coming to me, like we all know what model calls are, right? So they're coming to me, they're going to get a service at a discounted rate, and there's going to be someone else recording them. It's going to be a third person in the room, but I'm going to provide them the same quality of service, and I'm going to get content for at least the next month or two with the footage that we capture. Okay. So outsourcing, getting people, it's kind of tricky, to set up another employee in the space, but it's you have to, in order to grow, you have to expand, you have to duplicate yourself.
How do you know that's your next steps? Like, how did you know? Like, you have a goal, right? So you wrote it down. How do you know, like, what the next step is to get there?
So for the past 5 months, I've had a business coach, and I wrote a lot of notes in that book. I have to bite off things there's some people that take information, they run with it. They do it very quickly, and I want to be that way eventually. But you have to scale it based on, I have my life stuff and I have my business stuff, and those are two separate things, right? So in order for me to I gotta in order for me to figure out what to do first, second, third, it's just, it's just thinking about what I could afford to do, to be honest. Yeah. And then I go with that. So this month, my goal is content creation. Next month is, do a photo shoot. The month after that, so I have things that I want to do and I just have to order it in what makes sense. Right.
And so we're going to wrap up this session, but I have a couple more questions to ask you before we do.
Sure.
The one I ask everybody, I actually got this from Damon John during COVID when,
Love him.
Yeah, he would ask everybody he interviewed, like, if you had one superpower, what would that be? And I'm curious. And you don't have to think too much. Sometimes it's like a lot of people say, like, oh, I wish I could fly, or my personal one is like, I wish I could heal people. If there's something that you've thought about, maybe that would just be like a fun superpower that you could have. And it could be tangible.
I would first say superpower, tangible. I thought the first thing that came to my mind is money. Okay. But I'm like, money doesn't make you happy. I know that for a fact. But I would say to heal people.
I thought that was going to be your answer. That's why I mentioned it.
Heal people, so they don't have to feel sick or die or, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Is there anything else you want to add, or something we didn't talk about that maybe you thought we should, or anything you want to say to the audience, or one more thing I thought about was like, what would you want to say to your potential clients? Like why it would be nice to work with you, or have services done by you?
I would say that for my clients, my potential clients, that when you come to Nyah Simone Spa, you're gonna be rejuvenated. You're gonna feel amazing. I am a 5-star therapist, and I've worked with celebrities. I'm celebrity trusted, and I'm also, I'm very good at what I do. Come, and my physical location is located in Garden City. I'm at 1 Old Country Road, Suite 408 on the lower level. My website is nyahsimone.com, spelled NYAHSIMONE.com. And support my business. I look forward to meeting you, and you'll see the difference when you come to Nyah Simone Spa.
Do you also do house calls?
Yes.
Okay.
I also do house calls. I see clients all the way from the Hamptons to Brooklyn. So I have clientele all over Queens, Long Island, all over Long Island, and Brooklyn. So I used to go to Manhattan, but that's just a little bit too far. But I do house calls. So today was a house call. The whole day was house calls, and I do see clients in my physical location in Garden City, and that's the location that the rates are better because you're coming to me versus me coming to you. But I set up the table. I bring everything: table, lotion, hot stones, you name it, and you will have an amazing experience at Nyah Simone Spa.
Beautiful.
And
all right.
Can I say shout out to my daughter?
Absolutely. I wish she was here.
My daughter
so
and another friend of mine, my good friend Marie, but they coached me and helped me to get an outfit for today, but I ended up just keeping on my scrubs. And my daughter Nyah, she is someone that has been with me and helped me so much in my business, and she inspired me, to be a better mother, to provide for her. And this is how I birthed, and it drove me to creating this business. But my goal is to have a full-blown beauty and wellness business. And the next step, educational wise, I'm studying to be a naturopathic doctor, not just helping people doing massages, but helping them internally as well.
Beautiful. I love you. I thank you.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. And I want to thank you as well. And I wish you much success with your podcast.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Until next time, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you soon. Ciao.